Hare Krishna Mataji, would you like to please share your screen?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, sure.
Yeah.
Is this okay, Mataji?
Mataji, we are able to see the notes, next slide and notes also.
Okay.
Do that notes view. I mean,
Okay, let me try again. Okay. Is this better?
yes, Mataji, perfect. You can.
Can you see the next screen?
Yes,
And
yes. Next, yeah,
oh,
perfect, perfect. Everything is
oh,
perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
thank
Mataji,
you
you did
so
not
much.
on your video.
Yes. How do I go back? No.
No, can I will just ask you to unmute, like put on the video, then you can click OK.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. You got it. That's an easy method to do it. Okay, we'll start, Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha. Today, we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Mukta Mataji to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 16th chapter. Thank you, Mataji, for your valuable time and association. Your last class was so nice. The way you described a whole Vaikuntha, I think. Kailas, you were describing all the Kailas and how different your PPT was so apt. And the whole chapter that you described was very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. I'm eagerly waiting to see your beautiful pictures on the PPT and the chapter summary. Over to you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. You're amazing that you remember so much. Today, I won't be having so many pictures because for Prithu Maharaj and Mata Archi, there's not many pictures available on the net. But I tried my best to put as much as possible. So, Hare Krishna, thank you everyone. Thank you very much, Bhakti Sangha Japa group team, for hosting and very kindly giving me this opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome everyone to the Srimad Bhagavatam chapter wise summary series. Today's topic is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16, Praise of King Prithu by Professional Reciters. So let's begin with prayers for auspiciousness. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurmitam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadam Mayam Dadati Sopadantika. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय नमो 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 ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी के नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. With all your blessings, I'm going to begin. So we'll begin by looking at what has been discussed so far. So you were discussing the story of King Vena, his atrocities, and how he died. So now how his dead body was churned by the sages. So first Bahuka or Nishad was born and he became the father of the Nishad race. Then a male and female couple appeared, Prithu and Archi, who were the incarnations of Lord Vishnu and goddess Lakshmi. Prithu Maharaj was then coronated to be the king and Archi Mata accepted King Prithu as her husband. Various gifts were offered by various demigods to Prithu Maharaj. All this has been discussed in detail in the previous chapters. So in chapter 15, the previous chapter, last week, we discussed when Prithu Maharaj saw the professional reciters reciting and glorifying his qualities, he denied to be praised because he had not exhibited these qualities yet. So in today's chapter 16, the reciters were pleased with the king, who, although being an incarnation of God, was very humble and delightful in his dealings with the devotees, that the reciters continued to glorify Maharaj Prithu and described his transcendental qualities and future activities. So Srila Prabhupada explains in this verse, in the first verse of this chapter, the word Muni Chodita, that indicates the instructions that the reciters received from the great sages and saintly persons. So, although Maharaj Prithu was simply enthroned on the royal seat and was not at that time exhibiting his godly powers, the reciters like the Suta, the Magadha, and the Vandi understood that King Prithu was an incarnation of God. So, one may ask how they understood that. So the answer is that by great sages and the learned Brahmanas. So there is a lesson for all of us here. We have to understand that the incarnations of God must be understood by the instructions of authorized persons. We cannot manufacture a God by our own concoctions. So therefore, as Narottam Das Thakur said, one should speak in accordance with one's predecessors. Sadhu, Guru, and Shastra must all align together in all the spiritual matters. So the reciters continued, Dear King, you are a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and by his causeless mercy you have descended to this earth. In this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the word na alam, not capable of. Therefore, it is not possible for us to actually glorify your exalted activities. Although you have appeared through the body of King Vane, even great orators and speakers like Lord Brahma and other demigods cannot exactly describe the glorious activities of your lordship. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that in this verse, the word Mayaya means by your mercy or along with your Shakti Archi. And Srila Prabhupada further explains that there are two kinds of Maya, Yog Maya and Mahamaya. Mahamaya is an expansion of Yog Maya, and both these Mayas are different expressions of Lord's internal potencies. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he appears through his internal potencies, that's Atma Mayaya. Although born out of the so-called dead body of King Vena, King Prithu was still an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the Lord's internal potency. And he is fully capable and independent to appear from anywhere and everywhere by virtue of his internal potency. So it must not stop us from glorifying the Lord just because we are unable to offer prayers to the Lord in an adequate fashion, or because demigods like Brahma, Lord Brahma gets bewildered by Lord's activities. It is mentioned here in the purport that however expert one may be, he can never describe the glories of the Lord adequately. And the professional reciters accepted that. Whatever they will speak will be inadequate and insignificant. Therefore, everyone should glorify the Lord according to his or her own abilities. So why so much stress is given on glorifying the Lord? It is because such attempts pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead very much, and also by glorifying the Lord with exalted verses, one becomes purified. So from verses 4 to 19, we'll see the professional reciters describe Maharaj Prithu's kingly qualities as well as his transcendental qualities that will be displayed in future as a king. And the last 8 verses will mention the predictions of Prithu Maharaj's life. So by hearing these praises, we learn about what qualities the kings possessed in previous yugas. It also gives us an insight on how a king should rule the citizens who are dependent on him. And this is like a guidebook for the leaders. The professional reciters further said that the king will strictly follow the religious principles himself, and then he will provide opportunities to engage his citizens in religious activities and will protect the religious principles. Srila Prabhupada explains here that when the citizens are engaged in religious activities, they perform sacrifices and yagnas and they properly execute their prescribed duties, then there is no scarcity of distress, because all these religious activities are meant to satisfy the supreme personality of Godhead. Only in such a state people will be happy and will be economic and will have economic prosperity. King Prithu is compared to the earthly planet. Although the earth is always trampled upon by men and animals, it still gives food to them by producing grains, fruits, and vegetables. Similarly, King Prithu will be very, very kind to all the citizens. Even though a poor person may violate the rules and regulations, the king, out of his causeless mercy, will be forgetful and forgiving. It is said that it is the duty of the king to look after the comforts of the citizen, even at the cost of his own personal inconvenience. Therefore, as a protector of the world, he will be as tolerant as the earth itself. So that's why he is compared to the earth. Next, he is compared to the fire in the Ernie wood. Why? Because the king was born from the dead body of King Vane. So even though the enemies may appear to be very near King Prithu, they will not be able to approach him, just as fire is not easily approachable. So no one will be able to overcome the strength of King Prithu. He will be so strong and so powerful. He will be exactly like air, the life force within the body, which is exhibited internally and externally, but is always neutral to all affairs. Similarly, the king will remain neutral regarding all matters of glorification and vilification paid to him. Since this king will always remain on the path of piety, he will be neutral to both his son and the son of his enemy. Srila Prabhupada explains here that it is the duty of the ruler to punish the criminal and give protection to the innocent. King Prithu was so neutral that if his son was punishable, he would not hesitate to punish him. On the other hand, if the son of his enemy were innocent, he would not wait to save him. Vishwanath Chakravarti explains here the meaning that he pleases the world by his moon-like face. So that means that his face is like moon, or in other words, how he holds the body of the moon within himself. So Prithu Maharaj, by his affectionate glances and always smiling with great affection for the citizens, will enhance everyone's peaceful life. And he will please everyone by his practical activities, and all of his citizens will remain very satisfied. So because of this, the citizens will take great satisfaction in accepting him as the ruling king. And this is the perfection or success of any king, that the citizens are happy and they accept him as a king. The king will be a pious leader. He will be firmly determined, that is Dhrida Vrata in the verse, and will always be situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahmanical culture and will render all service to old men. So Brahmanya Vrata Sevaka. He will give respect to all. He will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Manado Dina Vatsala. The king will respect all women as if they were his own mother, and he will treat his own wife as the other half of his body. He will be just like an affectionate father to his citizens and will give shelter to the surrendered souls. He will treat himself as the most obedient servant of the devotees, who always preach the glories of the Lord. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the difference between Satya Sandho and Dhrida Vrata. So Satya Sandho means true to his every promise, And Drudha Vrata means true to scriptural vows. And it also means firmly determined. The king as a pious leader. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that he will be affectionate to his wife as if she were his half body. Patniyam Ardha, that means half of his body. Srila Prabhupada explains the word Brahmavadinam. Brahmavadi refers to devotees of the Lord, and the word Brahmavadinam refers to devotees of the Lord who must be served. So the state should always serve the devotees of the Lord, and the ideal state should conduct itself according to the instructions of the devotees. That means sages and priests. Because King Prithu followed this principle, he was highly praised. Some other qualities: the king will consider all embodied living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasure of his friends. The word Dehinam refers to those who are embodied. The living entities who are embodied in different forms, which number to 84 lakh species, all of these were treated by the king in the same way he would treat himself. So he will intimately associate with liberated persons, and he will be a chastising hand to all the impious person. The word in this verse is Mukta Prasanga, indicates that the king will always associated with liberated persons, the sadhus and the sages. The king will be like a lion. So the word Mrigendra in this verse describes that the king will be like a lion who rules his country with a strong hand by following the religious principles. So Srila Prabhupada explains here, unless rogues and thieves and other demonic people in the state are afraid of the ruler of the kingdom, there cannot be peace and prosperity. Another quality of King Prithu is that he will be as powerful as the sun god. Just as sun god equally distributes his sunshine to everyone, King Prithu will distribute his mercy equally. And just as sun god evaporates water for 8 months and during the rainy season returns it profusely, this king will also exact taxes from the citizens and return these money in times of need. That means that tax exaction is not meant for sense gratification of the so-called administrative heads. Tax revenues should be distributed to the citizens in times of need, during emergencies such as famine or flood. Just as sun god expands his shining rays up to the Arctic region without impedance, the influence of King Prithu will be on all tracts of land up to the Arctic region and will remain undisturbed as long as he lives. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions that his influence will spread up to Manasotra mountain. What extent is that? It is as far as the sun's rays extend. So this was interesting when I read this. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur compares the entire land up to Manasotra mountain, and Srila Prabhupada makes it more easy and simplified for us to understand, and he refers to Arctic region. The king will be like Indra. He will also maintain the earthly planet by discharging proper rainfall. So Srila Prabhupada explains here, and these are his transcendental qualities. So Srila Prabhupada explains here the demigods in charge of various departmental activities that maintain this world are but assistants to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when an incarnation of Godhead descends to this planet, demigods like Sun God, Moon God, the King of Heaven, Indra, all join him. So consequently, the incarnation of Godhead is able to act for the departmental demigods to keep the planetary system in order. The protection of the earthly planet is dependent on proper rainfall. So when there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to the scarcity of water, this royal personality of Godhead will be able to supply rains. So Srila Prabhupada explains here King Prithu is very appropriately compared to demigod Indra Dev. because King Indra of the heavenly planets is in charge of distributing water over the earth and other planetary systems. It is indicated that King Prithu would arrange for the distribution of rainfall personally if Indra failed to discharge his duty properly, like we saw in Krishna Leela. So it means that if there would be a scarcity of rain, King Prithu will manage to counteract the deficiency by virtue of his godly power. So this is his transcendental quality that will be manifested. He's compared to Varun Dev. In this verse, the word pracheta is used. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains in his commentary the word niguna karyo, which means the effects of his acts are not known before they are manifested. In this verse, King Prithu is compared to Varun Dev, who is the king of underwater kingdom or the deity of the seas. Srila Prabhupada here explains that from the outer appearance, the sea and ocean seems devoid of life. But a person acquainted with the sea knows that within the water exist many varieties of life. Just as no one can understand what is going on beneath the sea, no one will be able to understand the policies of King Prithu and how he's making everything successful. Here the words, the third line, Ananta means unlimited, Mahatmya means glories, Guna means good qualities, and Ekadhama means reservoir. So his activities will also be very confidential, and King Prithu will be able to see all the internal and external activities of every one of his citizens. Still, no one will be able to know his intentions and his actions. And he will be the reservoir of unlimited glorious qualities. And his treasury also will remain unknown to people. So Srila Prabhupada describes the word Upagupta Vitta is significant. It indicates that no one would know the extent of the riches King Prithu would have, and his knowledge and wealth will always remain a secret. So again, this is a transcendental quality. Here the king is said to be the master of the three worlds. So being a liberated soul and completely learned, he will see all the material varieties as meaningless because their basic principle is nascence or avidya. This means that a pure soul sees within the varieties of bodies and knows very well that these varieties are the creation of avidya and therefore they are not real. The words Shakshat Bhagwan indicates that Maharaj Prithu is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead and therefore possesses unlimited transcendental qualities. The word Kutastha means without change. Srila Prabhupada explains here that there are two kinds of living entities. They are Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha. Nitya Mukta is a living entity who never forgets his position as the eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and knows that he is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Whereas a Nitya Baddha or eternally conditioned living entity will see the material varieties as real and therefore different from one another. So he will not be able to see the soul within the body. This king, being uniquely powerful and heroic, will have no competitor and hence will rule the entire earth. He will travel around the globe on his victorious chariot, holding his invincible bow in his hand and appearing exactly like sun, which rotates in its orbit. The word here, Yatharka, indicates that the sun is not fixed, but it is rotating in its orbit. Prithu Maharaj's ruling power would extend all over the world and his reign would cover the entire planet Earth. The word Naradeva appears twice in this chapter, in verses numbers 8 and here in 20. Srila Prabhupada explains the word Naradeva should be understood to be a qualified king who is God in human form. So, according to Vedic culture, the king is honored as the supreme personality of Godhead because he represents Narayan, who is also the giver of protection to the citizens. The original king is Narayan or Lord Vishnu, and the king's duty is to personally supervise the distribution of wealth for the maintenance of all the living entities. And if he does so, he will be as reputable as Narayan, and the citizens will worship him as God in the human form. So that is the perfectional stage for the head of any government or state. So when the king travels all over the world, the other kings as well as the demigods will offer him all kinds of presentations. So, as the protector of the citizens, he will be equal to the Prajapati demigods. So, he will milk the earth like a cow. These are the future predictions that the reciters are making for the king. So, he will milk the earth like a cow. He will level the surface of the earth with the pointed ends of his bow and break all the hills exactly like King Indra, the heavenly king who broke the mountains with his powerful thunderbolt. And at the source of the river Saraswati, this king will perform 100 sacrifices known as the Ashwamedh Yagya. But in the course of the last sacrifice, the heavenly king Indra will steal the sacrificial horse. And further, he makes the reciters predicts that King Prithu will meet Sanat Kumar, one of the four Kumaras, in the garden of his palace compound. And the king will worship him with devotion and will be fortunate to receive instructions by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss. So it means that when a person is properly instructed by a spiritual master, he will enjoy life and he will understand the transcendental bliss. Prithu Maharaj will be famous amongst the people because he will, with his chivalrous activities, and thus he will be glorified by the citizens. He will not have to advertise himself artificially because one's factual reputation cannot be covered. He would be displayed by his actions and activities. And after conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizens. And then he will be recognized all over the world. There are many kinds of miserable thorns that pierce the citizens of a state. But all the competent rulers, even up to the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, uprooted all the miserable conditions of the citizens. It is stated during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, there did not even exist severe cold or scorching heat, nor did the citizens suffer from any kind of mental anxiety. This is the standard of good government. Such a peaceful and prosperous government, devoid of anxiety, was established by Prithu Maharaj, or rather will be established by Prithu Maharaj. And at that time, both the Suras and the Asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities, and no one will be able to disobey his orders. So, thus, the inhabitants of both saintly and demonic planets were all engaged in glorifying the activities of Maharaj Prithu. So, to summarize this chapter, when Prithu Maharaj saw the professional reciters glorify him, he denied to be praised because he did not exhibit his godly qualities by then. So the professional reciters were pleased with the king's mood, and although being the incarnation of God, he did not accept to be glorified without displaying his activities. So the reciters continued to glorify Maharaj Prithu, but they described his qualities as a king, his transcendental qualities as an incarnation, and they made some future predictions about his activities. So this brings us to the end of the summary chapter 16 of Canto 4. Thank you all for your time. Please forgive me for any mistakes that I may have committed, and please correct me if I said something wrong. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gaura. I hand over the call to the host. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for a wonderful class. It was wonderful to hear. You shared nicely the qualities of Prithu Maharaj and also the lessons we can learn, especially about Guru Sadhu Shastra principle. Also, you glorified. Thank you, Mataji. It's nicely done, and the presentation also very nice to put to very few words, but meaningful words to convey the essence of the sections, each of the sections. Thank you, Mataji. I really like the qualities of Prithu Maharaj, how he was humble, and in fact, that how humility encouraged the professional reciters, bards, to glorify him even further. And of course, we also here in this section, we also see about how glorifying Supreme Lord and preaching about his glories is the essence. That's why they are also interested in glorifying the Supreme Lord's incarnation, like this also we saw. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mati, for nice summary, Mati. Hare Krishna, Mati.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Danat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Once again, thank you, Mataji, for such a beautiful summary. The way you explained each and every qualification of a king and how the association works, every slide that you went on through was so beautiful, Mataji. Very grateful to you. I'll go back and listen it again. Being a spring break, my daughter is so crazy. That's why I was not able to focus, but and then I'll just definitely go back and hear it again, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Any more realizations, questions?
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Uh, that was very nice summary, Mataji. Actually, I heard this in Bhagavatam morning classes. I forgot this story, but with your summary, I could recollect everything. This already happened in the morning class, actually. So that the all those things like you have made me remember. So, Mataji, I was also thinking like before you were telling that how come a pious person is coming out of a very insane like he's not at all a very nice person, King Vena. How from his body like such a supreme personality of Godhead's incarnation is coming out. That's what I was thinking. But in your explanation you already told that anything is possible for supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah, that I was thinking about that. Yeah.
This
So,
thought, yeah, this thought came to my mind also when I was reading the chapters, and
Mhm.
same thing. I got the answer through the purports of Srila Prabhupada that he can come out from anywhere. Even Narsim Dev appeared from the pillar, so he's free to appear from anywhere, and it's his choice and his will.
yeah, and also like from from the like Amsha of God only, some demonic people also have come. Like Narkasura has come out.
Hmm.
So that's what it's so we can't imagine what God's creation is, Mataji. Sometimes I feel like that's why we are nothing in front of Him. We cannot just predict what God wants for us, so or what He can do.
Hmm.
So we should just meditate on Him. That's all, and we cannot judge like why this has happened or why that has happened. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Thanks a lot for such nice summary. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, even the professional reciters mentioned that it's very difficult to glorify the qualities of the Lord because even Brahmaji gets bewildered. So if he gets bewildered and he's not able to like understand the activities and intentions of the Lord, then who are we? So that's very true, Mataji. We cannot understand his and we cannot ask questions and we cannot we just have to accept whatever.
Yeah, we should accept it, Mataji. Like his actions are mesmerizing, sometimes surprising, sometimes bewildering.
Yeah,
Everything. It's a combination of all sorts of feelings, actually.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
That's why it is said that we should be a devotee of Krishna, then only we can understand his activities. Otherwise, it's difficult to understand his activities. And reading scriptures, continuously being associating with the devotees, that helps us to understand that Krishna is the supreme and his actions are all transcendental. No question of thinking. Because we are trying to compare everything with the material world and we are trying to see faults in Krishna sometimes. So we should be very careful that Krishna is not in the transcendental platform at all. He's not in the material platform at all. He's transcendental platform. So we should understand in such a way like that. So everything will be perfect. Thank you, Matajis, for nice discussion. We will end the call here. I would like to offer my obeisances to you and all the worshippers assembled on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam
Tanam
pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Namo. Ananta Koti Vaishnav
Koti
Vrinda ki
Vaishnava
Srila
ki
Prabhupada
Jai.
ki Jai, Mukta
Jai.
Mataji ki
Jai.
Jai. Thank you,
Sangeet
Mataji.
Jai and all
Very
devotees.
bold.
Jai.
Very grateful to you, Mataji, for such a sweet class.